Hello everyone, I'm Peter. I'm back to continue my story from where I left it off last time. I told you about how Hannah and I found insider information about various Yakuza partner companies inside her bag. Today, I'll show you my luxurious life as I converted my few $100s into millions by investing in the stock market. But sadly, good days don't last long. I found out that my food was being poisoned by my girlfriend, and woke up inside a casket with my servant digging my grave and burying me while alive. Why would she do this to me? And who saved my life? Before I answer all these questions, please subscribe to the channel to show your support. So, do you remember how I told you about the guy named Milton? I met him while I was sulking in a park. My plan was not going as smoothly as I had hoped. I was making really small profits in the stock market because I lacked experience. Milton happened to sit beside me. He might have noticed the depressed look on my face because he started talking to me. "Is something bothering you?" he asked in concern. "Problem in school?" I couldn't help but laugh. I wish it was that. My problems are not about high school or girlfriends. He frowned. "How old are you?" "I'll be 15 soon," I replied. "Okay, wow," he said in amazement. "You sound far too mature for your age. I guess something bad happened? Can I help you?" "Who are you?" I asked cautiously. "Why are you even talking to me?" He could be a Yakuza spy for all I knew. But he extended his hand towards me. "My name is Milton," he said. "I saw you all down and depressed and thought I would talk to you. You should be home studying or browsing social media at this hour. But it looks like I'm making assumptions here. So what's bothering you?" It felt like I could trust him. Maybe he was just a tourist in Japan, bored out of his mind. But whatever. As long as anyone listened to my worries, I'd be slightly at ease. "I'm in a very messed up situation right now," I started, and then ended up telling him half of my story. I had to leave out the part about Yakuza and other dangerous things because it was risky. But he seemed wise enough to get a vague idea of things. "So, you see, I need $20 million within 3 months. I even have the means to get it, but I'm lacking in skills," I said. "I thought I could easily predict the stock's prices, but I keep failing. At this rate, earning $20 million would be impossible." "Dang, kid! You are in a tough situation." Milton shook his head with a sad smile. "It reminds me of me. But, you know what? You can call yourself lucky today." "Huh? What?" I asked in confusion. He patted my back. "I will teach you how to read stock market trends and predict the prices. I've been in this kind of work for many years." Whoa! What were the odds of meeting someone who could give me just what I needed? I exchanged numbers with Milton and met him the next day at the local cafe. He started teaching me right away, saying that I couldn't afford to lose even a minute. We kept meeting for a week like this, and Milton helped and taught me everything I needed to know. He even helped me with predicting the prices during the first few days. Slowly, I had improved and started making huge profits. "As much as I would like to keep doing this, I have some other jobs to take care of," he said towards the end of the week. "I believe in you, Peter. You're far more talented than you realize. Don't be afraid of anyone, or anything. I know you can leave it all behind one day, and live a fulfilling life." I swear, I almost teared up. I didn't want him to leave. These last few days with him had been some of the best days of my life, but I couldn't be selfish and trouble him anymore. After Milton left, I kept working and invested in the stocks, after reading the trends. My predictions were actually proving to be correct this time. In a matter of 20 days, I had turned my $300 into $12 million. I owed Milton a huge thanks for this. Hannah was quite amazed when I told her that we were now moving to a bigger apartment. I'd paid $10 million to her father already. The look on his face was priceless. This time, he couldn't even oppose my source of income, since he couldn't find anything. I never left my home. All my work was done on a laptop, so it's not like his spies could find out the nature of my job. I kept the remaining $2 million safe in my cupboard because I needed the money to invest more in the future. Meanwhile, Hannah had now gotten used to a different lifestyle. She used to spend a lot of money on expensive clothes and other luxurious items. She even used to cook exotic dishes with imported ingredients. I couldn't stop her because I knew this was how she used to live before her dad cut her off from the inheritance. And I had given her nothing but trouble and poverty. At least I could finally do something worthwhile for her. She's also kept a servant to help her out in daily chores. The servant was an aged man, and I'll admit, he was pretty wise and helpful. However, he wasn't really fond of Hannah. He often used to warn me about her, saying she wasn't a good person and was only with me because of my money. I could see where he was coming from. To others, Hannah could come off as a bit materialistic, but they didn't know what she meant to me. She had been there for me during my lowest days. She even sacrificed everything just to help me. And I loved her for that. So I always ignored the servant's advice. Hannah might have changed a little bit, but she was still the love of my life. One day during breakfast, Hannah served me avocado toast and caviar. I casually told her that we needed to control our expenses. It had really gotten out of hand recently. "Can we please not do this over breakfast?" she asked. I nodded, not wanting to upset her. But it seems like I had already ruined the mood. To diffuse the awkwardness, I went to talk to her in the afternoon. My eyes fell on the counter to find her mixing sedatives in the food. I rushed towards her and grabbed a hold of her arm. "Are you trying to kill yourself?" I exclaimed. "What are you doing?" But before I could say anything else, my vision became blurry and I fell to the ground. "Idiot! Why would I kill myself? You are the target," I heard Hannah's voice. I was probably hearing it wrong. I clutched my head as mind-numbing pain seared through my whole body. Looks like the sedatives I used in the breakfast already did their job. I won't be needing these then," she continued. "Hannah, please," I started in an unsteady voice. "What's going on?" She crouched down in front of me. "Don't try to weaken my resolve, Peter. I love you, but I love money more. After all, that's the only thing that has helped me survive so far, and I can't live on the scraps that you give me. I hate it when you try controlling my expenses. I'm used to a rich lifestyle, and my dad is the only person in this world who can give that to me. You'll never be enough, Peter. You're no match to my dad. Hence, I have to go back to him and prove my loyalty by bringing you down. I'm sorry. I don't have any other choice." Before I could fully comprehend her words, she moved to my cupboard and took out the bag where I kept my money. I couldn't even move a finger, let alone stand up. I was so helpless at that moment. My eyes finally shut down because of the sedative's effect. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in what seemed like a dark box. It took me a minute to realize that I was inside a casket. I banged on the casket walls, but it was no use. It seemed like it was raining outside, and I still didn't have much strength in my body. I could hear my servant cry. Well, he was probably the only one present for my funeral. What a sad life I had. But oh my god! I was being buried alive! I kept banging, but he couldn't hear me. Before I knew it, the casket started lowering inside the ground. My servant kept crying, and I could only hear the pattering of rain that drowned out any other noise. My body was telling me to give up, to just end the suffering here. But then, I suddenly remembered Milton's words. Don't lose hope. Right. I had to try till the very end. I took a deep breath, and channeling all my strength, I started banging more loudly with my legs and whole body, hoping to be saved. Luckily for me, someone arrived right on time and stopped my servant from burying me alive. This person truly was my guardian angel. Hello everyone, it's Peter again. I'm back to continue my story. Last time, I told you about how I found out that my girlfriend had stolen $2 million from my cupboard and ran away. Today, I'll show you how a mob of moneylenders broke into my house and threatened to put me on fire if I didn't pay off their debt. I also took a dive in a swimming pool, only to find out that 10 great white sharks were circling around me, and the Yakuza boss waiting outside with a sword in his hand. It's a miracle I survived. But before I begin this incredible story, please subscribe to the channel to show your support. If you remember last time, I was in a casket. My servant was burying me alive, and no matter how hard I banged, he couldn't hear me. When I almost gave up, a very familiar voice came from outside. It was Milton. I don't know how it happened or what he was doing here, but he was the one who stopped my servant and pulled me out of the casket. "Wow, you just outdid me in bad luck," Milton remarked jokingly. I breathed in fresh air and looked up towards the sky to see it wasn't raining anymore. "I can't believe you were just going to bury me alive," I said to my servant. He was in complete shock and couldn't even open his mouth to speak. Milton came forward and handed me a water bottle. "It's not your servant's fault," Milton said. "He was obviously sad about your death. Anyway, I thought you were all set. Where did it go wrong for you to end up like this?" I hung my head low in shame. I trusted the wrong person. Hannah betrayed me. Milton shook his head. "Uh-oh, that's why you never trust gold diggers. I mean, I'm not sure what exactly happened between you and Hannah, but wasn't she like super rich or something before meeting you?" I blew out a breath. "Yeah, and when I started earning money, she used to spend more than we could afford. I kept ignoring it until, well, this happened." I looked up to meet his eyes. "But, what are you doing here?" "I'm leaving tomorrow and wanted to see you one last time. I tried calling you, but when you didn't receive, I went to the address you had once given me. Some of your neighbors directed me here," he explained. "Thank God for them," I said in relief. "Otherwise, it would have been the end of me." Milton patted my shoulder. "It's okay. You're fine now." How could I tell him it wasn't fine? He still didn't even know the full extent of what Hannah had done. Moreover, he was leaving. He had saved me 2 times now, and I felt like someone was taking away my only shelter from me. But still, with a heavy heart, I thanked him for everything, and asked him to remain in touch. He left after saying his goodbyes, and I rushed back home with the hope of finding something there. But, of course, I was in for another shock. Hannah had already run away with my money, and a group of moneylenders were waiting outside my house. They started asking for money. "I don't owe anything to anyone," I said. "It was your girlfriend," one of them said. "She bought a lot of dresses and jewelry on loan, and everything was under your name." Great. Just great. As if being robbed of my money wasn't enough. Now I had to pay back the loans of a girl who had betrayed me. I begged them to give me some time to arrange the money, but they started threatening me. They had brought fire torches and threatened to burn me along with my house if I didn't pay them. I requested them to calm down, but they didn't listen. In the end, I had no choice left. "Give me a few hours. I'll pay you back," I said. I contacted a real estate agent and told him that I wanted to sell my house. This was the only way I could see. My house got sold within an hour, and I paid all the money lenders with whatever money it earned me. Finally, they left. Now I was homeless and didn't even have a single penny on me. After thinking for a while, I dialed Hannah's number. I was hoping against hope that she would listen to me, for the sake of love we once had. She didn't receive my calls. I texted her, but there was no reply. This was not good. I needed her to give my $2 million back so that I could invest in the stocks. I had to pay the Yakuza boss in a couple of days, and if I failed, he wouldn't even blink before getting rid of me this time. As a last resort, I went to her house. I had to get back my money somehow. I was a bit surprised when the guards at her mansion let me pass through the gates. Maybe they didn't know about the fallout between Hannah and me. As I went inside, I saw a newly constructed pool in the garden. There was some movement beneath the surface of the water, but I couldn't figure out what was causing it. Maybe some fish or something? I shrugged and moved ahead to find Hannah standing at one of the windows. She was trying on her expensive jewelry. I called her name. She glanced down at me in shock. Then her expression changed to that of a bitterness. Wow, wasn't she being a bit too much? I was supposed to get angry at her, not the other way around. She came out and regarded me with a disgusted look on her face. What do you want? Are you really oblivious, or just good at pretending? I fumed. First of all, let me tell you how ashamed I feel for ever liking someone like you. People like you don't deserve any affection. But whatever, it's your life. Keep living the way you want to. Just give me my money. She smirked. I will give you something better. I was really confused. What was she up to now? She called some of the Yakuza men and nodded at them. Before I could understand what was happening, the men picked me up and tossed me in the pool. I came out on the surface, spluttering water from my mouth. Ugh, what the heck? Are you not going to use such childish tricks to get rid of me? I yelled at Hannah. This can't stop me, you know? If you don't give me my money back, I'll report you. She started laughing. Please, you and I both know that no law in this world can touch us. How do you think we're still running this business smoothly? She was right. I would have gone to the police a long time ago if I felt like they could help me. But they couldn't do anything about Yakuza. Oh, by the way, she suddenly said, if I was you, I would watch my back. I turned around and gasped when I realized that I was surrounded by 10 fins. The movement in the water that I saw earlier was because of great white sharks and not some fish. Hannah's father made an appearance in front of the pool. He joined Hannah in enjoying the show of my misery. They couldn't stop laughing as they saw me struggling to get away. I tried getting out of the pool, but the Yakuza men kept pushing me back. Hannah, you've made me proud, the Yakuza boss said. I did doubt you earlier, but today you have proven your loyalty by punishing this worthless piece of trash. I begged them to stop and help me, but they kept laughing. I can't wait for Sunday, the Yakuza boss continued. That's the final day of installment, and I can already tell that this boy won't be able to pay me. Nothing would make me happier than getting rid of him with my own hands. He blew a whistle and told the sharks to let me live for another day. Yeah, he literally talked to the sharks. I guess they were all trained. The sharks disappeared underneath the water again and stopped circling around me. How pathetic, Hannah remarked in amusement. I thought you were a brave one, but I guess it was all an act. I felt my eyes burning with unshed tears. If I cried in front of them, it would only serve as their entertainment. So I controlled myself and got out of the water. My clothes were all wet and sticking to my body now. I'd involuntarily started shivering against the cold wind. If you think that you can win by employing such cheap tricks, then you're wrong, I said through gritted teeth. I can't wait for Sunday either. Hannah shook her head, still laughing. You shouldn't say such big words, kid. It will come to bite you back, and you will only feel more humiliated when things don't go your way. We'll see about that, I replied. Don't waste your time here, Hannah, her dad said. Let's go back inside. His last days are nearing, so he is just spewing nonsense. I turned around to leave as well. As soon as I was out of the gates, I broke down. What now? How was I going to survive now?